Do you have a home that has become unaffordable due to the tough economy? Has debt or unemployment pushed you to the brink of financial disaster? I am attorney Gary Melton, and at Stovall & Associates, we can put your family's difficulties behind you and rebuild your financial future. Call today for your free appointment and get the answers that you need in tough times. Don't give up. Call our Pahrump office for your free consultation. Stovall & Associates. Good lawyers for good people.
Court Reporter with Stovall & Associates.
Welcome back to Court Reporter with Stovall & Associates. I'm your host, Mike Aglinski. Our second guest tonight is Nye County Sheriff's candidate Scott Cobel. He came on once before before the primary, and now he's back, ready to go for the general. So, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on, Mr. Cobel. Anyway, just want to kind of ask you. This is kind of the big time now. It's yourself and Sheriff DeMayo. How's your strategy changed since the primary coming into the general?
You know, I just really been trying to get out there and talk to as many people as I can. I went up to Tonopah, got a lot of signs put up. I met a lot of good people. They voiced their concerns that Tony wasn't getting up there. And I told them that I would be spending at least a month up there.
So you've been going up to Tonopah one week out of the month?
I will be when I become sheriff.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this. I mean, obviously, both candidates being in Pahrump,
Right.
being residents of Pahrump. Has this been a theme as far as you understand? I mean, for the sheriff's office, or I say sheriffs, not only the sitting but past sheriffs. That is there been people voicing opinions that they feel like Tonopah is underserved, or I mean, is this just because the larger population is down here in Pahrump?
Well, I don't know. In the last 14 years that I've been here, people in Pahrump think that more taxes are spent up in Tonopah, and all their roads are paved. And then when you get up to Tonopah under this administration, they feel like their voices are being heard. And I want to change that. We're not going to be the sheriff of Pahrump. I'm going to be sheriff of Nye County. It's important to hear everybody's opinion.
It's been, with all the national coverage of some of the more controversial races that's been happening, it's been reported many a times that Nye County is the size of Vermont and New Hampshire combined, which really adds to, the spreading, I guess, the department thin. Do you have any plans in order to, maybe really see that the entire county is served, or?
Well, yeah, I think right now having 3 different commands, one in Tonopah, the actual commander in Tonopah, one in Beatty, and one in Pahrump, I think serves the county well. We have the same problem with the state. We have jurisdiction in Reno, Carson City, Las Vegas, and Elko. When you're spread out that far, it's hard to get accurate communication, and it takes a lot of effort on the leaders' parts to go out there and to tell people what's going on. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to focus on that.
As far as we should speak to some of your background, by the way, for viewers that aren't completely familiar about what you've done and why you're running for sheriff. So we explained to them, how you came to deciding to run for sheriff and what your experience is.
Well, I've been in law enforcement here in Pahrump, locally in Nye County, for 14 years. And in those 14 years, I've worked in Beatty. I've been up to Tonopah several times as a DT's instructor, as a range master. But then they fell under another command, and then they were no longer part of the Southern Command, so I stopped going up all the way up to Tonopah. But when I was in the Department of Transportation dealing with big trucks, I got out to Amargosa and Beatty and Pahrump and Indian Springs and Las Vegas. So I have 14 years with the Nevada Highway Patrol, as I said, and I'm a range master, a defensive tactics instructor, use of force instructor, pepper spray, taser, everything but EVOC on all the high liability areas. Mm-hmm.
So how did you start your career in public service?
I started in actually 1986 with Fremont Police Department as a cadet, and I was still a junior in high school, much like the cadet program here. Mm-hmm. And when I got to be 18 years old, they said you might want to either start going to college or go in the military. So I chose the military, and I went to military police. Spent 4 years in the military, and I received my SWAT training through the 1st Special Forces Group out of Okinawa, Japan, which is in charge of all of Southeast Asia for the embassies. Great bunch of guys. I went to Panama and served under Operation Just Cause for combat in '89. I was stationed in Korea, Fort Hood, and Fort Ord, California.
So currently, you're with the Nevada Highway Patrol.
Right.
What is your position, and what are the responsibilities with that?
I'm a state trooper. My responsibility is traffic safety. Not just issuing citations, but to inform DOT on various aspects of the highway that may need improvement or may need to be re-signed. A couple of years ago, I was responsible for putting up all the Star NHP signs so that people know how to contact the Highway Patrol in case of an emergency.
Gotcha.
We worked with them to get more speed limit signs out there so that people know better directions. And the speed limits in town, which is 35, they had a very small sign, and I made them change it to a very big sign so that it would be a little more visible.
I have to say, when I first started really coming up to Pahrump a lot, that there is a dramatic change in speed, and in fact, I found myself quite a few times going, looking down my speedometer, not realizing how quick I was going.
Well, most small towns in Nevada, when you get through their towns, it's a real small speed. Tonopah is 25. And that's because there's just so many side streets, and you can't have a stop sign or a traffic light on every corner.
Right.
And when you got people that, like in the middle of our town, for example, when you have Saddle West on one side and you got an RV park on the other side, people tend to walk across there. And I've been trying to get DOT to put a crosswalk in there. And not only that, but school buses pick up kids.
Sure.
And so the speed is important because when you start talking with reactionary time, most people that are young and alert, their reactionary time is like 0.2 of a second before they actually start braking their vehicle. And then depending on the speed, depends on how fast they can bring that vehicle to a stop. So speed is very critical in a lot of contributing factors in a lot of accidents.
Well, let me ask you this. So, I mean, today, as a trooper, now you're running for the position of sheriff, which is more of an administrative and political role in a lot of ways.
Right.
I mean, what makes you want to change your role in law enforcement?
Well, it's I care about this community, about this county. I don't think that the sheriff's department today is what it should be. My personal opinion. I don't think that they're using the resources that they have appropriately. I think that they're overstaffed in command. I think that, like I've said before, they have 44 deputies and only about 26 of them respond to calls. I have a roster here. I've got 3 rosters that I did. And just for instance, the 12-hour shifts the deputies are on right now, minus their investigators and their narcotics officers and their DARE officers.
Can I interrupt really quickly?
Sure.
Just so for the layperson, the infrastructure of your typical police force.
Right.
I mean, let's kind of give some ratios so people understand a mean.
Well, I think the national average, what they'd like to see, is about seven employees to a supervisor.
So 7 actual patrol persons or deputies or whatever the moniker
to a
is.
supervisor. And I believe the Highway Patrols might be like 8. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so it's on average 7 to 8 employees to every supervisor.
Right.
Okay. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And right now, just with the deputies that are on the street, command that's from sergeants that are on the street, not counting detention. We'll get into detention in a second. From the lieutenants to the captain to the assistant sheriff that you just had on to the sheriff himself, works out to about 3.78 employees per supervisor. And it used to be lower than that, but one of the undersheriff medically retired, so it raised the numbers a little bit. But what I want to get at is we have to, in medical, there's a critical hour. You have to get to a patient and get them treatment within that hour, so that they have a better chance of surviving. I think most people will understand that. And I think in law enforcement, there's a critical time frame where that you have to get to a crime to get out the information of the other law enforcement agencies. And so we're really talking about response time. And if you have 43 deputies and you're not talking about the 7, 10, 11 people that are doing narcotics or dare or grade or investigation. We're talking about just deputies.
Okay.
If you take just the deputies on the current schedule they have now, their current manpower is anywhere from 16 to 18 deputies on a day.
Okay. Are these actually patrolling, rolling deputies?
These are actually, they're just Category 1 police officers.
Okay. Okay.
And some of those actually are street crimes. They're more proactive. They're proactive, where I feel that the 22 to 26 people that actually respond to crimes are reactive. They're in there to do a report, get the report done, and roll to the next one to do a report.
Understand.
And they forward it to the investigators, and the investigators try to work with what they
So
have.
serving the general public.
Right.
Okay.
So 16 to 18 people covering the valley a day. On a 410 schedule, using the same scenario, you would have anywhere from 18 to 22 people. So a little bit of a jump, but not much. But it's still, it's a couple of deputies. It's about four more deputies a day on your high crime days or high call days. And then you got a 5/8 schedule, which I understand a lot of patrol deputies don't like to work. But before you start laying people off, and before you start cutting people's pay, and before you start asking for more positions, I think that it's the responsibility of the sheriff to try everything to use his resources to the best of his abilities. And 5/8, the big jump is you'll have anywhere from 27 to 22 people on a day.
So with the same amount of resources.
So when you talk about that many more officers, you're talking about a faster response time, talking about catching people before they leave their house on a domestic, or maybe being able to catch more people that are drunk driving, or being able to be in the neighborhoods more often, maybe catch these more calls don't have to hold for so long.